Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Welcome to the live where we're going to be discussing 5 steps to help you fund your business with business grants. So before we get started, I want to go ahead and introduce myself. I know so many people are tuned in and you may not be familiar with who I am. So I am Angel Radcliffe. I'm a financial educator and business strategist. I'm based in Dallas, Texas, and I own a financial education company, A Leverage Group, where I work to empower consumers and entrepreneurs through financial management. Now, I know some of you are watching and you're saying, well, entrepreneurs, financial education, yes, the two go hand in hand. My motto is if you're running a business, and you, of course, you're going to be in charge of your business financials. If you don't understand your personal finances, how can you understand the finances in business? And that's where I come in. So building that bridge, it's a passion of mine, especially on the consumer financial side. And I've been doing this for more than 10 years. So I hope that you enjoy the tips I'm going to provide today and you follow me for some more free lives. So today we're discussing business grants. And in particular, the 5 things you need to do in prepping to go in for that funding, for that ask for your business. And of course, we're going to start with step 1. It's foundational, right? Step 1 is always about the foundation. Do you have everything in your business set and ready to go? And when I say that, I mean legitimize, right? Are you an official business? So many people will say, oh, they have a business, and then it'll turn out that they don't really have a business or they haven't really taken the steps to legitimize, such as obtaining an employer identification number, creating their business bank account, registering your business with the state or even with your county if you're a DBA. So many of those intricate details, they do matter when you're getting into applying for funding for your business, whether if it's business credit, if it's business grants, or if you're going in for some type of investor, right? You're seeking capital. Those things do come into play, and we'll wrap all those things around. They'll become full circle in these next 20 or 25 minutes. But take a look at some of those foundational items. Have you A, legitimized your business? And if you haven't, then you definitely need to decide on some sort of business structure for your business. Will you be a sole proprietor? Will you be an LLC, an S Corp? Those are conversations that you need to be having with someone who's a business strategist, such as myself, or you can seek out a legal counsel. Some people do seek out legal counsels. There are business attorneys, or maybe even if someone in your network, maybe you need some advice, post some questions in groups like these that you're in, ask those steps. Like, what are the steps that you need to take? There's no such thing as a dumb question. And of course, as business owners, we don't know everything that's supposed to happen in business. It's you live and you learn. It's fail, rinse, repeat, right? And so, of course, once you become successful in your business and you can be able to teach those lessons to other people, it's like you just keep going until you get it right. Even the most successful business owners have failed at something in the past, and I'm sure they've missed a step or two. Along with those foundational points of registering your business, having the EIN number, having the business bank account, you want to have some sort of business plan. So in your business plan, you are identifying the goals for your business. How much potential revenues can your business make from whatever product or service that you're offering? But in addition to that, you are seeking out to compare your business to any competitors. You're targeting out who is your target customer. You're going to have an operational plan. You should have all of these numbers in your business plan. What's your break-even point, right? How do you scale? At what point do you consider your business to be at scale? What's the growth model? And I always say when you're creating that business plan, it's something that you're going back and you're revisiting every few years. So there are so many people who've been in business for 10 years or 20 years, and they'll say, yes, I have a business plan. They haven't reviewed it since before they started the business. And that's another aspect as far as what I do is working with my clients is helping them evaluate their business plan or even create their business plan from scratch. So we have some more information coming up on that as well. So stay tuned. Of course, it will not be in this session, but that will be an upcoming discussion. So step number 2, when you're going in and you're trying to understand what do you need to do to obtain these business grants, you have to, of course, evaluate. There's this whole evaluation phase where you're evaluating the need for your business, but you're also evaluating the sources. So let's go to step A, right? Evaluating the need. It's how much are you seeking in funding? Is it something that's 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000? And it's like, what exactly will you use this funding for? Are you anticipating using the business grants as your startup cost? Will it go towards hiring more employees? You have to understand what you're seeking funding for. Why? Because so many of those business grant applications will ask you, what do you intend to do with these funds? So it's best to have a clear and concise plan in place. And I'm going to get into how you can rinse and repeat that plan in just a bit. But also in the evaluation stage, we're looking at evaluating the sources. So we're specifically discussing business grants on this live, but of course, there's so many other sources of funding, and some of those sources are free. So again, seeking capital, or there's so many different contests, which will, you can really say that that's a grant as well. But okay, if you're evaluating the sources, like what do you want to go after first? Do you only want to seek business grants? Do you want to go and seek investors? Do you want to seek some sort of business credit? Having that plan in place lets you know when you need to sort of scale back on maybe like applying. You may want to specifically focus on capital and funding for a few months out of your business, but once you reach the goal, do you want to have someone that's continuously applying for your business to obtain funding? Do you want to do that? So evaluating the sources of where the funding will come from, and then how often will you need to keep applying for funding? And keep in mind that even though you're applying for these grants, these loans, you're seeking capital, it's not always guaranteed. So you have to have some sort of backup plan in place for your finances, for your business financials. So whether you're bootstrapping your business or whatever that initial source of income is, or even if you're seeking grants to start a business, what's plan B if you are unable to obtain any grants? So think about all of those things and how you can really push your business forward until you're approved and granted like one of these amazing grant opportunities. And there's so many. Of course, so many people who signed up for this particular live. You should have downloaded the free grant resources sheet. So there's a sheet that's free, and it's so many grants that you can apply for. There's one particular link that has it has grant listings by state, 146 grant opportunities. So definitely take advantage of that. And I'll repost the link here in the chat just shortly. So we're going to move on to step number 3. So we discussed more so legitimizing your business with step 1. Step 2 was evaluation. So evaluating the need and evaluating the sources. Step number 3 is really setting a goal, right? We talked about how much do you want to apply for. So if your overall goal is obtaining a grant for $20,000, and maybe that's going to help you purchase new equipment, maybe that's going to help you manufacture your product, you have to, again, understand what you're using the grant money for so that you will be able to set the goal. So let's say hypothetically, your business needs $20,000. You plan to buy new IT equipment and some computers. Maybe you landed a big contract and you want to sync your network. You want to have all of your computers ready for your employees. That's a valid reason to need funding for your business. So set the goal and understand where you are, do those check-in points. So if it's like every 2 weeks, every month, if you said, all right, I'm going to apply for business grants over a 3 to 4 month period, you should definitely be checking in maybe every 3 to 4 weeks on the status, especially if you're hiring someone to do this. Because believe it or not, there are people who actually will apply for grants for your business. And so if you are not the person who wants to sit online and seek out grant opportunities all day, that may be something that you want to take advantage of. Step number 4, we're getting into, it's apply, apply, apply. If you don't apply, who will? And you can't just apply to one, because again, these grant opportunities, they're not necessarily guaranteed. So you want to be able to have some other options. Don't put all your eggs in basket per se. So many people will give up because, let's just keep it real, some of those grant applications are long. I don't know if you've ever filled one out. I've seen some that are 10 pages long, and so it can be a bit tiresome. So sometimes it can take 30 minutes, sometimes it can take an hour, sometimes they're quick and easy, and it may take anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. So of course you don't want to spend your entire day applying for grants. That's going back to the point I made earlier, is where people do hire someone to apply for these opportunities for them. But I always say keep track of every single grant application. And that's step number 5, keeping track of what you've applied for. So either having some sort of board or some sort of spreadsheet where you're listing out what that actual grant opportunity was, as well as the amount, maybe even keeping a listing to that hyperlink. Were there different categories that will be awarded? Sometimes they'll say, you'll see companies will say, or organizations will say, we're going to give out $5,000-$10,000 grants, but we're also going to give out $55,000 grants. So keep that criteria in your list as well so you can understand what you're up for. And some of those opportunities that I've seen, the turnaround time can be anywhere from 30 days to 90 days. So keeping those deadline dates and follow-up dates is definitely key. So along with keeping track of like those grant opportunities, again, we're going back to those long applications where you have to enter in all these responses where they're asking you, tell us about your business. What's your mission statement? What's your vision statement? What are your values? Tell us about your employees. You may have to list out every employee, every role, or they may say, what do you plan to do with this money? And sometimes those responses can be a bit lengthy, especially if you're putting in 3 to 5 paragraphs or more. You have some extensive plan of how you plan to use this particular funding. You want to keep track of those responses. Why? Because that next application that you come across may ask you the same exact question. And guess what? All you have to do is copy paste. You may have to tailor it just a bit to whatever specifics are being asked in the question, especially if they're wanting you to relate something to their organization or how can their organization help you with those goals. But it will help you cut down on some of that application time. Now, I mentioned I have a very special treat for those who've tuned in. You can download a free grant listing by clicking the link in the bio. There's also an opportunity to download an extended grant booklet, which is 15 pages of grants worth over $300,000. Now, that is a paid download for the extensive grant book, but the initial one is absolutely free. Sign up and get on my mailing list so you can stay tuned with things that I'm doing and be a part of free conversations just like this, in addition to free masterclasses. And speaking of funding and masterclasses, my next free masterclass is happening October the 23rd, 11 a.m. Central Time, and it will be a 1-hour class on applying for business credit. Again, business credit is another way for you to obtain funding for your business. So many people really lack the knowledge of how do I apply for business credit? What is business credit? We're going to delve into all of those amazing things Saturday the 23rd, absolutely free. Come with your questions. The link is being posted in the bio right now, but also sign up on my mailing list, www.angelradcliffe.com. And there you can book me to speak. You can schedule a discovery session. You can listen to my podcast, Milestones, Money, and Motivation. You can look at some blogs. You can find out so much information, but you can also sign up to really be in the know of what those future events are that I'm hosting. You can find the link to the masterclass on the website as well. I do have 2 books, so I'm an author as well. I forgot to mention that. But the first one is more so a budget workbook, Balling on a Budget. So really to help consumers just like you get their finances in order and really turning those manual budgets into an automatic budget. Why? Because personal finances is the foundation to understanding your finances in entrepreneurship. And as we are discussing entrepreneurship, I also have a second book as well, which is Upfront, an Entrepreneur's Quick Start Guide. I always call it the business pocketbook. It is available on Amazon.com. So pick it up, check it out, download the ebook, order the hard copy, whatever your choice is. But also, I want to go back to those 5 points before we end it here. So just a quick review of those 5 steps that we talked about in really moving your business forward and applying for those business grants. Number 1, understanding the foundational aspects. So that was all the legitimizing, all the paperwork, right? The paperwork that we hate to do. Number 2, evaluation. So evaluating the need and evaluating the sources. Number 3, you're setting the goal of how much you'd like to apply for. So $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. Number 4 is apply, right? Apply, apply, apply. So you're tired of applying. And even when you're tired of applying, have someone else pick up those applications and apply for those grants for you. And number 5 was keeping track of those particular grants so that you can understand where you are when you're doing your check-in points. So again, let me just do another quick reintroduction. I know we're right here at the end of the live, but I'm Angel Radcliffe. I'm a financial educator. I'm a business strategist. You can head on over to my website at missrmba.com. That's MISSRMBA.com and find out more information about me. You can subscribe. You can subscribe to my mailing list. You can follow me on social media. So there's my social media here, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And for those of you who would like more information in relation to entrepreneurship, in relation to finances, you can follow my podcast on all podcasting platforms. If you have an iPhone, you can scan the QR code for Apple Podcasts. If you don't have an iPhone, or maybe you do and you prefer Spotify, you can scan this QR code. And if you don't have either of these applications, you can find my podcast on everywhere. Amazon, Audible, search for it online, Milestones, Motivation, and Money. Thanks so much for everyone tuning in, and I hope that you join me on the next live. Don't forget about the free masterclass, October the 23rd. Find out more information there on my website, and I hope to see you all next time.